Hi, I'm Karen. I'm a professional life coach. And today I'm here to talk to you about the inner critic, or the saboteur as I like to call it. This session is really all about how you can disarm it and actually physically sweep it away, as if it was a piece of rubbish. So before we go into the doing part of that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the saboteur. It's the small voice, the voice of limitations that lives inside your mind. It's been there a long time and it feeds on your old stories and your old habitual patterns. So it's very easy to get strung along with the saboteur because it feeds you a lot of nonsense actually, and also it can bring back lots of old pain and old emotions. So to recognise that your saboteur is with you is ultimately the first step to breaking free. And that's what we're here to do today. So without further ado, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the saboteur, because when you start to work on the inside, your saboteur will start to go pretty wild. It will start to get loud. It will start to become quite bolshy actually. And it's there to try to control you in some way. And in its mind, it actually believes that it's actually helping you. It's actually keeping you safe. Otherwise it wouldn't do it. But the truth is, the saboteur can only really get in your way. And it's a real misery. So the job of the saboteur is to keep you stuck, as I said, and also to really steal your joy, your happiness. It doesn't like anything that is humorous or funny, and it hates change. So if you're on the brink of something new, or you have a big dream, or even something quite small, but it's a different way, the saboteur is going to start to chip away. It's going to start to bring out everything it possibly can. Your job is to out it. Ultimately, there is no way that you can live a free life if you listen to the nonsense that it's going to sell you. You can't run from it. You can't avoid it. You actually can't even begin to rationalise with it. And I see many clients get into these debates. Do I go this way, that way? And they're trying to solve something that is not really logical because it's from another voice. Now, the good news is you have a bigger voice inside of you, and that is the voice of the higher self. That is the noble voice, the voice of wisdom, the voice of inner knowing and intuition. And that voice is also speaking to you. So I want to start to help you to differentiate between the higher self, the lower ego-led self. The voice of the ego will tell you that you are superior, that you need to be slightly above people, or you're inferior, you're small, you're low. So there is no place for balance in this world of the saboteur. It's one or the other. It says things to you like, you're failing, you're not good enough, so you need to work harder, you've got to be better, you've got to do X, Y, and Z, or else you'll be the things that you fear. So really, it's time to move on now. It's time to get a new story. And it's time to not give up on yourself. So are you ready to meet your saboteur? Are you really ready to go into this part? It's definitely time. So you are not your saboteur, although sometimes you may feel a little bit like you've just sabotaged yourself in some way, or you're close to something and suddenly you do something quite strange that doesn't fit in with what you were really intending, the real you. And this is why this session is very important, because all of a sudden you get to pinpoint it and go, oh, that's what that's about, that's where that's coming from. It's actually not from the real you. So you have a very different voice, and I want you to start listening to that. I want you to create a whole new story, and as this story is about making choices that take you closer to your dreams, choices that are life-affirming, not life-restricting. So I know that you're ready because you're listening to me now. And if you weren't here and listening, you wouldn't be ready. So please take faith in that. And I want you to know that on the other side of the saboteur work, there is hope, freedom, and all the good stuff that's available for you in life. Now, before we get into the saboteur session fully, I want you to know that if you get blocked or you feel like blank in any way, or you're struggling to tune in, don't worry about it. Take some notes of the questions down and really go into that place when you look in the mirror in the morning and you're not looking your best, and you hear that little voice sort of chipping away. Or when you make a mistake, and again, the voice is there. That's the voice I'm talking about, and that is what I'm going to help you with. So let's do it. So the character of a saboteur, I'm going to train you on how you can create something that is, it's something that is very, very clear for you, so you can actually start to identify, and then by identifying, you can start to move it away. So listen carefully and let your imagination go, because your saboteur has a real character. A character can be anything like, for example, I have one which is a old witch, and she's very gnarled and she's quite twisted, and she's, you know, I'm a little bit like this when she's with me. I'm closed, I'm actually in protection, and I'm starting to go around like this. It may not look this obvious, but that's what's happening in my body. And what I'm trying to do is actually close off my heart area, because I'm in some way believing that I could get hurt from things coming in. So that's your body, and the way that you stand and your position is very much giving you clues about where you're at, who you're with, and what you're listening to. So tune into the noise of the voice. When people work with their saboteurs, and when I coach them, their voice starts to get quite whiny. There's a pitch and a tone to it. The voice also can get a little bit sing-songy, but not in a good way. It's like, this is how it's always been. You can feel the heaviness coming into the body, and it's in the voice box and in the gut. So tune into that noise, and when you hear yourself speaking in that way, you know that somebody's with you, that you don't want to be there. Is your saboteur young? Because some people have teenage saboteurs who are quite bolshy, and this kind of thing starts to happen, where they're, you know, the hand goes on the hip and it's in a kind of like screw you type way. Or quite old. So again, that old, I've been here before, I know how this is. That is the sound, and that is the age. So pinpoint it. Body-wise, again, you know, anything heavy-shouldered, you know, that's an important sign. And I want you to create an image or a character. So I have the witch, and I also have a bird, which is a pelican. And the pelican flies in. It has lots of things in its beak about why I shouldn't move on in my life or do something different. So it's almost like it puts cases against me as to why I should stay. And again, you choose. There's no right or wrong with this. There's no rules. I also want you to notice the words that you use, because when you say things like should, have to, you're definitely with your saboteur. When you start to make accusations to yourself, if I don't do this, then I'm going to be this, again, you're stuck. And once you start to tune into the saboteur, it's actually extremely boring. It's the same stuff going round and round and round. So you will actually get quite bored quite soon, which is the good news. So are you ready to break free? I'm actually getting into my body here because I'm getting excited. So I have some questions for you, and I want you to tune into the questions. And again, if you need more time on this, take the time. So, where does your saboteur take control in your life? What are the patterns that are alive in your life that are really keeping you stuck? What's the cost of listening to that voice? What do you want to say to it? Now, this is really important, because now you get to have a voice and you get to speak back to it. So tell it, what do you want to say? Where do you want to send it? From what you want to say, start to form your own mantra. So create something that actually builds you in a positive light, that says all the truths about you, of who you are as a human being. And start to use that every day, in the mirror, morning, noon, and night, or as often as you can remember. And where will you send it? So I've had clients flush their saboteur down the toilet. I've had people open the window, shove it out the window, from a metaphorical point of view. And I've had people send it to Timbuktu as well. So, you know, send it to Coventry, do whatever you need, you choose. But definitely get that big brush out and start to sweep it away. So what's next for you? Now that you've got some space in your body, you're free actually to move on, to do something different. You're in a space of nowness and of possibilities. The choices are down to you. You're in the driving seat. So I want you to start to tell the truth about who you are in your bones. Not about what you need to do, but about who you are. What will you stand for in life? Big question, and an important question to answer. If you know what you don't stand for, you also know what you stand for, so go there. And what is really, really important to you? I want to point you in the direction of a daily routine. I want you to get into the body, and I want you to listen to it. So from this, your job is to do this. Take something that works for you. Take the tree posture in yoga, or fish if you need to open up the voice box. But put that into your morning routine and let your body free itself. So choose one thing that will support you in this journey and do it now and step in. It's now, not when.